Hey, what's going on, everyone? Axel here. Today we're going to talk about the NES Classic Edition. Nintendo pissed off a lot of fans today by announcing that they will not be making any more NES Classic Editions for the rest of 2017. Seemingly, the product has been discontinued. A lot of people talking about this, a lot of people upset. I'm going to go through some of the reasons in this video why they may have done this, and some of the conspiracy theories that are out there right now. And by the end of the video, I'm going to tell you exactly why I think they're doing this. So let's go ahead and before we can really dive into the reasons, we have to start talking about Nintendo's reputation and history in this artificial scarcity tactic that they're using for their products. And before we say anything else, for the people who are saying that Nintendo legitimately underestimated demand, I don't believe that for a second. Look, this is a huge company with great state-of-the-art marketing teams and equipment. They knew that this thing was going to be successful. The same way they knew that Amiibos were going to be popular. They knew that the Switch was going to be popular at launch. And Nintendo has developed a pattern of not making enough of their products. And if this was only one product, we could maybe we could argue that they really didn't know. But they've done this now 3 times with 3 different products. The first one was Amiibos. The second one was this NES Classic Edition. And finally, they're doing it again with the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch, it's been a month and a half, going on 2 months since launch. You still can't find them anywhere. So Nintendo is clearly doing this on purpose. So if anyone wants to say that a company that has developed a pattern, who has great marketing teams, huge company who has many ways they can measure this demand, if you really think that they don't know what they're doing and that they're underestimating demand 3 times in a row, that's just not true. That's not what's going on here. So Nintendo has developed this pattern of artificial scarcity. And why do they do this? Essentially, it's very debatable, and I think a lot of people, most people, in fact, most marketing experts would think that this tactic is outdated and ridiculous. But what they're trying to do is create this artificial scarcity to make their products look more special, more unique, more sought after. What they do is they make it artificially scarce. That gets their name in the headlines. That creates additional demand that wouldn't have been there in theory had they supplied enough units. And when they finally come out a long time later with enough product, more people presumably will buy the product than would have bought it had they just given the consumer enough of this product at the start. So that's the theory. That's why they're doing it. So essentially, this situation is a little different because they're announcing that they're not going to produce any more for the rest of the year. With Amiibos, we saw a big scarcity, but later on they produced enough, and presumably they'll do the same thing with the Switch. Now, I do want to say that in their statement, which you can find in an article I'll link below in the description, they did leave the door open for producing more later, and they could potentially bring this thing back in 2018 if they want. But this is a little different, this situation, than the Amiibos and the Switch, because they presumably are really not going to make any more for quite a while. So let's get down to some of the reasons why they're discontinuing it. People think that one of the most popular conspiracy theories going around concerns hacking, people hacking the NES Classic Edition. If you're not aware, the NES Classic Edition, it comes with 30 games. Basically, it's an emulator in a box. It comes with 30 games, but a lot of people are hacking this thing and putting additional games onto it. So I believe the actual memory capabilities of the NES Classic Edition actually has enough memory there to put all of the NES library on it like many times over. So a lot of people are just hacking it and putting additional titles on there. So a lot of people are saying that Nintendo's discontinuing it because people are hacking it and they don't like that. They don't want to give hackers a platform to spread their titles in a way that they won't get compensated for it. But here's the thing. People have been hacking Nintendo products for quite a while now, and Nintendo hasn't stopped making those. In fact, the Wii U has been hacked like crazy, and they have not updated the system software since the beginning of 2016. Look at all the mods, all the hacks for the Wii U right now. They're everywhere, and Nintendo's not doing anything about it. So I don't think that's that's a reason why they would be discontinuing this thing. Additionally, they really don't lose any money by people hacking their systems. People who hacked, who would go out their way to hack an NES Classic Edition probably aren't going to buy stuff on the Virtual Console anyways. Also, the percentage of people who buy these things and actually hack them is, I would presume, is very small. Most people who buy this thing are not going to be hacking it. The vast majority of people who buy this thing are going to be casual market people. They're not going to be hardcore video game nerds who would actually go through the trouble of hacking this thing. Most people buy this thing for the nostalgia factor, the fact that it looks like an NES, and the fact that it's from Nintendo. A lot of people, the people who are going to actually hack something to put full ROMs on it, probably weren't going to buy this thing anyways. So I don't think that's a major concern. In my opinion, the vast majority, almost 90+% of people who buy this thing are not going to hack it. They're not going to go through that trouble, or just don't know how to do it. So that's probably not, I don't think that's a concern to Nintendo's. Not to mention, there's so many other ways to hack Nintendo. Hack and get ROMs or emulators, or load those onto your. You can do it thurrough PC. There's Raspberry Pis. You can hack. You can hack your Wii. There's a lot of different ways to get Nintendo ROMs if you want to play them. Just putting NES Classic Editions onto the market isn't going to make this problem any worse. Okay, so next. So I don't think hacking is the reason. The next is, and this next reason is why they're doing this. And let me tell you, in my opinion, this is exactly why they're doing it. Here's the thing with the NES Classic Edition. Nintendo knew it was going to be popular. They knew it was going to get Nintendo's name out there. And they put this product out as an advertisement. That's what the NES Classic Edition was intended to be, an advertisement for the Switch. They put this thing out holiday season of 2016 just to get Nintendo's name out there, just to get people's minds on the Switch, to get people thinking about Nintendo, to get Nintendo in the headlines so that people would know that a Nintendo console was coming out in March. That's all the NES Classic Edition was intended to be. It's an advertisement. It was there to build up hype for the Switch. That's why they're discontinuing it. And you might say, well, why don't they just sell this thing anyways? Here's the thing. The NES Classic Edition will cut into the sales of the Virtual Console on the Switch, which has not yet been revealed, but we can presume it's going to be revealed very soon. I would be very surprised, actually, if they don't unveil the Virtual Console at E3 in a few months. So the thing is, if people are buying NES Classic Editions, they are not going to buy those same games on their Switch Virtual Console. So there's a lot of cannibalization there of Nintendo's sales. So the money they make off the NES Classic Edition wouldn't actually be as much as you would think. And the other thing about the NES Classic Edition, it's not nearly as profitable as the Nintendo Switch. When you buy an NES Classic Edition, it's $60. I don't know what their profit margin is on it, but the thing with it is that you don't upgrade it. You can't buy more games for it. So when you buy the NES Classic Edition, you give Nintendo your $60. Maybe you buy a cord extender, maybe an extra controller, but that's essentially it. Nintendo's going to get your money, and that's it. There's not going to be people who buy these things aren't going to be pouring more and more money into it. It's not like you can buy it, not like you can connect the thing to the internet and buy more games from Nintendo. It doesn't work that way. It's just a one-time purchase. Now, when you take something like the Switch, if someone buys the Switch, those accessories are hugely profitable for Nintendo. The games are hugely profitable. If you buy a Nintendo Switch, you're going to be giving Nintendo your money for 5 years, if not more, down the line. That's why they want people to buy the Nintendo Switch instead. So that's why they're discontinuing it. It's profitable, but they think that the Nintendo Switch is going to be more profitable, which it definitely will be. And another thing with production is Nintendo does have a finite amount of resources, and they would prefer to spend the resources they're spending on the NES Classic Edition on the Nintendo Switch, whether that's in form of marketing, research and development for games, whatever. We know they're not using it to actually produce Switch consoles at this time, but presumably they will later. They're still not making enough Switches on purpose, but we'll see what happens. So guys, yeah, that's essentially the reason why they're doing this. I really don't see any other reason that makes sense for them to do this. They just think that Switch is going to be more profitable, and all the NES Classic Edition was meant to be would be a was to be an advertisement, and they don't think that the money they would make in the short term off of selling more of these things is worth taking focus off the Switch, is worth cannibalizing the sales of the Switch, and it's just not in line with the direction of the company. Nintendo doesn't want consumers to look backwards. They want their customers to be looking forwards into the future. They don't want just to profit on nostalgia. They want the focus of the consumers in the image of the company to be one of video games. If people get, let's say for example, they were to come out with SNES Classic Edition, a Game Boy Classic Edition, that kind of transforms their image as a company as to kind of a retro company, or kind of a nostalgia based company, or a company that's not creating new things. Nintendo wants to move forward. They want to create new profitable ventures going forward. They don't want to just take small amounts of profit based on past successes, and any profit they do get from those past successes in the form of NES Classic Edition, or maybe another Classic Edition that would come out in the future, is not worth sacrificing long-term sales and long-term focus of the consumer on their new products. That's why they're discontinuing it, and that's why they're not going to make any more, at least for a while. Now, do I think that they'll come out with it again in the future? It's certainly possible. Let's say in maybe 2018, maybe the Switch starts to slump. Maybe they reintroduce it to get Nintendo's name out there again. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think at least for a while they want consumers to be focusing on the Nintendo Switch. So that's all. And I think also we might get more details and more info from Nintendo as to why they're discontinuing this thing at E3 in a few months. If they do announce the Virtual Console, I think it would make, and their online service, I think these things might give us more answers to all the questions that are out there from really angry Nintendo fans. So guys, that's going to be it for this video. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about this. If you agree with what I've said, if you disagree with what I've said, why you think they're discontinuing this. If you managed to get a hold of one, I actually wanted to buy one, but I'm not going to now, obviously. But yeah, let me know if you got one, what you think, anything else. And guys, if you enjoyed the video, please do me a favor and hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. I'm fairly new here on this channel on YouTube, and I want to, get my videos out there, get more people watching. So if you want to help me out, it would help a lot. But that's going to be it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time. Have a good one.